Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back for the final part of our program, President and CEO of East West Institute, John Edward Moroz.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're in our final part of the program. Can I just ask, though, first of all, do we have a show of hands? How many of you really believe you have learned something here so far tonight? How many of you believe you've learned something of some significance to you that you didn't know tonight? That looks pretty good. Okay. Anyone regret they're here? No, good. All right. So we're going to move on. As you know, tomorrow we start 2 days of intensive work together as the actual first Worldwide Cybersecurity Summit begins. Many of you will be there, and there'll be many others who aren't here tonight who will be also joining us. And we'll get into some hard work and start looking at specific sectors and trying to see how do we move the ball down the field? How do we begin to define, and how do we really start to mobilize international cooperation in a way that becomes effective, and that's what we're here to do. I'd like to also just say that a special thanks to all of our partners. First of all, the IEEE. This is the gold standard in the field. Its articles, its electrical engineers are considered the great people. We have a wonderful relationship with IEEE. They're the technical co-sponsor, and of course, we'd like to thank all of our corporate sponsors. You've been seeing their logos and names come up. We'd like to thank all of them for their tremendous support in making this whole event today and the next 2 days it's such a success. We have just a very, very brief, short piece that we have a special proclamation from the Texas Legislature, and we're very pleased to invite Representative Dan Branch, who's a member of the Texas House of Representatives from here in Dallas, to come up and take the podium. Dan?
Well, thank you, John, and welcome to one and all to our district here in Dallas, but more importantly, welcome you to Texas, the only state in the Union that was once a republic, and if it was a country today, its economy of $1.2 trillion would equal that of Brazil and Russia, and its nearly 26 million citizens would put a good Olympic team on the field. But that's a different subject. And I was also told by Howard that the UT system, one of our Tier 1 universities, has one of the better cyber defense and cybersecurity programs in the nation. So, Howard, thank you for that good news. And as Chair of Higher Education, I will pass that along to our Chancellor. So, very much glad that you're here. I know the Governor put a letter in the program, and on behalf of the Legislature, the Lieutenant Governor, and the Speaker, let me just quickly read one of these proclamations that can be formal, but please know that it's sincere. This is as someone said, this is a very big deal. This is very important, and we appreciate the fact that you are here in Texas and here in North Texas thinking about these important issues. Whereas the first Worldwide Cybersecurity Summit is taking place May 3rd through the 5th, 2010 in Dallas, and the citizens of the Lone Star State are proud to host this gathering, which is addressing the issue of paramount importance in the global economy and involving digital age, and whereas coordinated by the East West Institute and sponsored by a long list of distinguished individuals, organizations, and corporations, the summit seeks to raise international awareness about the growing problem of cyber attacks against businesses, governments, and other institutions around the world, and whereas targeted assaults on computers have become more common and more severe in recent years, and this trend poses a serious threat to international security and to the high-tech systems that underlie the global economy. And whereas to address the situation, the Worldwide Cybersecurity Summit is bringing together 400 prominent figures, including business officials, leaders, technical experts, policy specialists, and security officials from the 40 nations that lead the world in computer technology. By joining in face-to-face discussions, these stakeholders will help determine the new measures to safeguard the world's digital infrastructure. And the final whereas, in an age when terrorists and other criminals possess the technological knowledge to compromise financial and communication systems and to paralyze critical government services, the need for a comprehensive approach to protecting electronic information and networks is more urgent than ever. The Worldwide Cybersecurity Summit is an important step in achieving the goal of securing our global electronic infrastructure, and the esteemed individuals who are attending this event are deserving of recognition for lending their time and talents to this crucial effort. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the first worldwide cybersecurity summit be commemorated and the organizers and participants be extended sincere best wishes for a productive gathering in North Texas, signed by our speaker, Joe Strauss. Thank you very much for being here, John.
We're going to call our second panel of experts, a group of experts, and Bob Schieffer to come back up on the stage. And while they do, can I just pay recognition? Everybody, so many people deserve recognition. But one of our Texas directors and his spouse, Ross and Sarah Perot, have been absolutely instrumental in really pushing this whole event. And I want to thank them publicly in front of everyone for what they've done. So come on up, Bob. And now we have some good news. We have extra good news. Remember I told you earlier there were some planes diverted to Oklahoma City? Well, one of our panelists was Terry Takai, who's the Chief Information Officer of the state of California and a real star in this field. She was the one that went to Oklahoma City, but she is on her way here from her hotel. She's now made it back to Dallas. And I don't know how that happened, but maybe a cyber miracle, but anyway, it did. So, but in the meantime, we had asked Melissa Hathaway to come up and join us as well, and Melissa will join us. So let me come on up, and we've got everybody up here. Where's the panel? We have them? Come on, Melissa, come on up. And where do we have, let's see, we're missing Michael Dell. Would you come on up? And Phil Reitinger. Thank you. Michael. There we are. So I'll just very briefly introduce and turn over to our moderator. Let me just, again, we all know our moderator. So here we'll introduce Melissa Hathaway, was in the Bush administration White House on cyber issues, and she is currently at the Belfer Center as a senior advisor at the center at Harvard University. Next to her is Michael Dell, who needs no introduction. And Michael, thank you, and thank you for your support, Dell's support of this whole effort. And last but not least, Phil Reitinger, who's the Deputy Undersecretary of the Department of Homeland Security. You have the books, the bios, and so I think we don't have any more voting, but we do have an interesting discussion. So, Bob, it's all yours.
And so when Terry gets here, she'll join us, right?
That's right. Sorry.
Okay.
Terry will join us, and there's a chair for her waiting.
Okay. All right. Phil, let me just start with you. You're the government man here. We heard the White House view. You're over at Homeland Security. What really keeps you worried at night? What is the thing you most worry about?
So, Bob, I'd say two things. First off, I'm not going to identify a particular attack scenario because I don't think we can't get fixated on a single scenario and say, if we solve that, we're good to go. I think it's a couple of things. The first is we have an incredibly threatening environment out there right now. And I think we've got the right trend lines with the President's Cyberspace Policy Review that Melissa led. We've got the right leadership focus on this issue, not only in the United States, but around the world. But we actually need to keep that focus up. If we let our attention waver for a second, then we're going to be in a world of hurt, both now and in the future. The second thing that keeps me up at night is that we, because the current environment is of such a high threat, that we're going to let the critical, we're going to let the urgent overrun the critical, that we'll focus on Band-Aids, solving the problems now, and not recognize that what we're trying to do is run our economy, our critical services, on an internet ecosystem that is fundamentally insecure. That doesn't mean that it's not great, it doesn't give us a lot of benefits, but it wasn't designed for the sort of security that we need. And we'll instead say, we're going to fix the problems right now, rather than saying, we need to move to a more secure ecosystem.
I want to go next to Melissa because when I was talking to you before, I said, I was talking about the fact we're having